Okay, as usual, some pretty big things are happening in crypto, one of which is that China, confirmed by Hong Kong, is looking to get heavily into crypto right here. And I've stated it before, but I'll say it again. Most big countries and companies really will be flooding their entries. And it basically means that for most of these huge behemoths, it'll actually look as if they hate crypto while in the background buying like crazy. Anyway, let's quickly watch this video. But before we do, make sure you go ahead and press the like button on this video, as there's a ton to cover today. All of it is quite interesting.
Sort of forward push by Hong Kong at the moment, a sign that trading and crypto could return to the mainland, which of course would be a huge boost for the market.
That's an interesting question. You know, Hong Kong is always the gateway to the Chinese mainland market, and Hong Kong is always used as the lab for experiments, either in economies or in new industries or new sectors. From what we run regulated exchange, regulated funds in Hong Kong. From our conversations with the regulators, I think in a way they are trying their best to use the one country two systems as an experiment. If it's successful, I think there is the possibility the mainland China government will reconsider their stance towards the crypto and Web3 industry.
Do you think that's inevitable? Do you think the mainland government will definitely bring crypto back, or it's still a wait and see?
You know, for a government to have a clear message, it takes time. From what I know so far, our conversations with the mainland professionals and related sources, I think they are now looking at the market and see what's going on in other countries, what's happening in Web3 industries, and then they may come up with their response.
So maybe if a couple of you guys didn't fully get it, but I'd say the most important statement out of all of this was China, most likely, are basically looking at other countries to see how they're doing it and will respond in due course. The reason I'm saying this is quite a big deal is because we're not hearing this from them themselves. And I still think that most countries will not let you know anything about their discoveries or their new plans until they're actively deployed already. And it's also quite logical, right? Let's say you really think a certain thing is going to absolutely pop off. You want to get as much as possible in a short amount of time. Now, are you going to announce that you're super excited about it just beforehand? No, that seems kind of stupid to do. You might as well just add your bags first and then share what you've just done. Well, at least from a government perspective, I think that's wise, because if they've set their plans on buying, it has to go through such a rigorous process. It takes time. They can't just announce it and buy. It would be a longer process of first the proposal needs to come up, needs to be together, blah, 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 and then probably once it's announced, a whole new process starts again. I'm just thinking, indeed, what? They over in Hong Kong? It sounds like Singapore, by the way, because, it says right there on the top left, live Singapore. But I primarily think that it's because of the Hong Kong ETF issuing that they're, connected to China and that it's all connected. But it's a rather funny contrast to what we are seeing over in Russia right now. And actually, interestingly enough, I just saw a post about, let me just quickly find it again. I just saw a post also about the Netherlands being in a similar sort of stage where they're basically, let me quickly see if I can find it again. Here we go. So it says Mayor of Amsterdam basically wants to launch a countrywide ban on crypto payments as it basically messes up the society. That was just posted in Netherlands. Pretty big news. But it kind of also comes along with this. Russian central bank chief calls for a complete ban on cryptocurrency. I still remind y'all that, first of all, you can have a Gary Gensler type of wave. We've seen it over in China. We've seen it over in Pakistan and wherever. There's so many countries where you see a certain period where they're very much against cryptocurrencies, trying their best to push it into the ground and are stating publicly they hate it. But remember, Donald Trump was a very big hater of cryptocurrencies. Look at how that switched up. Larry Fink, the guy behind BlackRock, the CEO of BlackRock, was a very big hater of cryptocurrencies. Look how the tides have changed. And you can kind of roll that ball a bit further, where JP Morgan made reports of how bad it was, but secretively, in the background really, was one of the biggest purchasers. I still stand by the point that we've seen some articles really from Russia where they're really looking to explore this, that, they're using Bitcoin, stable coins to evade sanctions. If you really think those guys don't see the potential, and even if you just skip the crypto itself potential, if they do not see the benefit in trying to keep up with the US and trying to basically make their job at least harder, even if we're talking about crypto, then maybe they should front run the US's big plans and buy a little bit. So theoretically speaking, the price is then higher for the US to buy. Or really, if the US has done their analysis and it's super, super good, they basically got two options, right? One is to really go all out against it. But again, following their own analysis and the sanctions wise and stuff, it didn't make sense for them to work with it. Rather, it's just been beneficial. Or they can adapt and maybe even go a bit harder than the US. But for the most part, I think they're just looking at how the US is doing it, and on the opposite side, staying negative to, if they're going for option number 2, get in cheaper. Remember, most of these countries and businesses really are not in the business of telling you what is the best, right? They're in the business of running their freaking company. Even a country in that sense, sort of like a company. So don't expect them to tell you straight up, hey, we really think it's good or we really think it's bad. There are always within a country, within a company, different analysts who usually have different opinions. And whenever a statement like this also comes out, that the central bank chief is calling for a ban, that does not mean it will happen. That does not mean there's serious plans to ban it. It just means one specific person or a couple or an administration are looking into getting rid of it. But ultimately also, I still see it kind of similar to a JP Morgan analyst stating how bad Bitcoin is. We've got 10 analysts on one side saying just how much needs to be bought. We've got JP Morgan, the company, providing cryptocurrency services for clients. And then we have a few analysts also who say it's ridiculous, stupid, you should sell it forever. And I believe Jamie Dimon, also the CEO, is also very much against cryptocurrencies. But I can't confirm it because, again, he might have changed his mind recently and actually might be pro-crypto, or he might see some potential in it because people change their minds. And I still believe that running one of these bigger companies, it does make sense for them to really be against something. Think about it like this. Let's say we've got Trump, for example. Be really against crypto publicly while your companies are hoarding up, right? Or do some really crazy shenanigans right now being in office that makes cryptocurrencies or the stock market fall, while also in the background figuring out a longer-term plan, I guess, to make it thrive. Why? Well, first of all, because the fall, people don't really blame you too much for the fall, but they do respect you for the come up. That's one thing. And the opposite side as well, if you make things fall, and in this case, Trump here, he's got a pretty big company buying it all up. 1 + 1 is 2 in that sense, right? I think also they know it's going to be a little bit of a longer term game and that everybody is watching the US take its steps in this direction. They want to play this game well, but they do not want to give too much confidence at one go. At least it seems that way. They want to keep things a bit shaky just so, I'm thinking, right, another government can't fully front run them by being a bit quicker and accumulating a lot more. Because think about it. If the US goes fully in on it, I'm talking about everybody being on board. They really say they're going to buy an X amount and they confirm it. I think a lot of companies would try to front run that, try to buy just before the US does. Or a lot of countries would try to do the same. So theoretically speaking, that's in their best interest to stay quite ambiguous. And even though we've seen Trump and a couple of others say, yeah, we really want to do this, still, there's a lot of vagueness around it. And the price right now is not up a ton, even though, again, if it was quite confirmed, like, hey, we're going to accumulate more instead of just holding the Bitcoin that we get from the non-taxpayer way, I think prices would have shot up a lot more if it was more confirmed. If you get my drift. Anyway, so this is something I really think a lot of people are not getting right. The fact that even though you see a lot of negativity right now, in the back end, things are looking so good. And the negativity, to some extent, can be justified. But realize, the freaking president of the United States launched a meme coin. The president is talking about launching these crypto products. If you are bearish here, if you think things will fail forever here, we're just not on the same page. I do believe we could see a couple more weeks, a couple months here of downside potentially, just sideways or downside, or just nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. But I still believe all-time highs in 2025. My old prediction is still about August, September or so for the all-time high of this season. The real altcoin season, in my opinion, still has not started yet. But don't think that any one of these guys will tell you when it does, or that it's going to be one of these guys that is... No. I think the altcoin season will... I don't even know how to best describe it to y'all. I think a lot of the good things will happen without a lot of the key proponents being bullish. And that's because they're secretly getting themselves better positions, better entries, better infrastructure, another important part. Just like how Ripple, for example, in bear markets been building a lot of these connections, a lot of their products without really letting people know too much. And just like how BlackRock was publicly hating on it, JP Morgan was publicly hating on it while building in the background. Realize that. All these companies know there's money to be made on here. Really, this whole space is going to see some crazy, crazy growth. In my opinion, quite soon. Sam Altman's WorldCoin in talks with Visa to deploy stablecoin payments wallet. So you can see over on that angle how things are developing like crazy. And also another interesting one, CME Group partners with Google Cloud to explore tokenization and enhance capital market efficiency. On the side note, also Fidelity, Solana ETF filing. But more importantly, again, think about it. Right? Even though maybe directly you're not seeing some of the bullish statements, I am seeing them from watching all this news. Things are crazy right now. Just keep it in the back of your head. And hopefully you're enjoying your time. But yeah, that's about it for this little crypto update. A couple of crazy things happening in the background. Don't let them get into your head. Things are super, super good right now. Yeah, make sure you put that notification bell on because there's some crazy apps you want to be notified. And that's about it.